Hey, hey. Welcome everybody to Miss Glow's Kitchen, where there's sugar, spice, and everything nice, where we slice, dice, and entice, using everything we can, from peppers to allspice. What's up, my people? Y'all know what time it is? See y'all in the kitchen.
I'm so excited. A lemon crunch cheesecake cake is on the menu today. Alright, so in no certain order, I'm going to tell you what we need for this cheesecake, but I am going to tell you that you need like a baking pan or shallow dish that you can put water in. You're going to have to put it in the stove, and that's going to make your cheesecake nearly perfect. Alright, here's what we need. No particular order. We need cream cheese, sugar, eggs, vanilla, heavy whipping cream, and cornstarch. I will list the amounts in the description box below. If you haven't hit like, subscribe, do that right now. Hit that share and hit that bell, everybody. Let's start cooking. Alright, so into a bowl, everybody, we're going to mix the cream cheese, the heavy whipping cream, and the cornstarch. So we're going to mix this until it's smooth, then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so in between that off camera, I beat the eggs in there, the 3 large eggs. I beat them in there one at a time. Alright, so now as I'm digging this sugar out, I'm going to let you know I'm trying to get 1.5 cups of sugar. Alright, so when I get the 1.5 cups of sugar out, then I'm going to put vanilla in there. So I'm going to put a tablespoon of vanilla extract. Alright, and that's going to be it for us. So this is really easy. We're making one cheesecake. So that's why I have a small mixing bowl right there. So one go in between the 2 lemon layers. So you know how the cake goes if you're familiar with it. Alright, so there we go. In goes that vanilla extract. Alright, so now what we're going to do here is we're going to mix this until it's thoroughly incorporated. So we want to make sure it's mixed very well, and once it's mixed very well, then it's ready to go into the pan. Okay, so at this point, let me show you something. I'm going to make the cheesecake in a spring form pan. If you know what that is, that's the pan that's got the part on it. You can take this top off. The top and the bottom separate. Alright, that's a regular cake pan at the bottom, so that's what I'm using for the cakes. What I want to do now, I have 3 different size springform pans. I want to make sure I get the right size for these cakes. Now actually I didn't. This one is slightly bigger, so I'm going to have to go around, cut the edges off. I am aware of that. Alright, so after I get the right one, then I'm going to put some wax paper down in here. Alright, I'm going to put some wax paper. I'm going to fit it down in there, especially around the edges. And then I'm going to cut it, because we don't need any sticking up around the edges like that. So just cut it. Alright, so this is going to make it easier to get the cheesecake, especially off the bottom of the pan. So with a springform pan, it's not necessarily the sides. As a matter of fact, it never is the sides of it. So if anything, it'll be the bottom that it'll be most difficult to remove it from. So to keep that from happening, we're going to line it with wax paper. Alright, so easy, just cut off those top edges like I said, and if it's a little bit sticking up around there like that, that's perfectly okay. Alright, got that in there. So the next thing after we get this in here like this is we're going to spray this with some non-stick spray. Now there are some out there who will argue and say, but I'm telling you from experience what I know. Yes, spray this pan with non-stick spray. Alright, there we go. So we'll move on to the next step. Alright, I slowed this down so you can see the type of pan I'm going to use to put some water in it. Alright, so this pan is going to go on the shelf underneath the cheesecake. Alright, so don't necessarily sit it on the bottom of the oven, but on that other shelf. Alright? Alright, so this is coming out of a 350 degree oven 1 hour after I put it in there. Cracked a little bit on the top, but since it's going in the middle of 2 layers, this is fine. Alright, for the lemon cake layers, substitute the water for milk. Use the eggs, the vegetable oil, add a little vanilla flavoring. That will give it a really homemade flavor. Alright, so follow the directions on the back of the box and come back. Alright, so as far as getting the cake layers in the oven, we're going to use Baker's Joy. Now if you want to use butter and flour for your pans, feel free to do that. Baker's Joy, however, just takes a lot of that hassle away. Alright, so just coat your pans very well with that Baker's Joy. Put your cakes in there and follow the timing that's on the back of the box. Be sure to stick a toothpick in the middle. If it comes out clean, your cake is done. This is already up on my channel, so very quickly I'm going to run through these ingredients for cream cheese frosting. We need cream cheese, butter, confectioner's or powdered sugar, heavy cream or milk, or half and half, and vanilla extract. Alright, so into this bowl, to make it very quick, We're going to put the cream cheese, the butter, and the confectioner's sugar. Now what I'm going to do with this spatula is I'm going to cut that cream cheese and that butter into this sugar. And as soon as I do that, I'm going to take that hand mixer. I'm going to very quickly go around. I'm going to try to make it as smooth as I can. All right? So when it gets as smooth as I can get it, then I'm going to stop and scrape the bowl. All right, so I'll be right back. All right, so my cakes are done. They are freshly out of the oven. All right, so you see I'm still using towels, so you know darn well it's still kind of hot. Be careful getting your cakes out. Now you can see there that they've pulled away from the sides of the pan. See that? All right, but you still want to stick a toothpick down the middle if you're not sure. And if that toothpick comes out clean, your cake is done. If it comes out with cake batter on it, then you have to put your cake back in for a few more minutes or what have you. But if you lightly press down on that cake and it doesn't give too much, or you can't leave your fingerprints in it, actually your cake is done. So that's another way to check it too if you're not sure. All right, moving on. So after your cakes have cooled completely, you should be able to turn that pan over and your cake should come out just like that. Look at that. Perfect. So we're going to assemble the cake very quickly. Now what I want to show you during this assembly is I'm going to get my frosting on here and then I'm going to put that cheesecake on the top. When I put that cheesecake on the top, it broke. All right, so this one's not going out for sale, so it's mine. So I'm going to show you how I took that cheesecake, those pieces, put it back together, and still made a perfect cake. Watch me. All right, so take a look at this. The layers look kind of messy, don't they? So what I did here is I put a crumb layer on it, what we call a crumb layer. So you know what a crumb layer is? It's a very thin layer of frosting. And what you do is you put it in the freezer or the refrigerator, all right? So you let it harden a little bit, and when it does, that's when you come back and you put the other frosting on your cake, so it'll come out perfect. So, okay, anytime you have a not so good looking cake, trust me, you can turn it very easily. So those sorts of things in the kitchen, you gotta know how to fix them. And most of the time, they're fixable. How about that? All right, so we'll go over with this. All right, and then we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back and smooth it. All right, we're back. So if you don't have one of these little doodads, these little doohickeys, they're about $2 probably in the dollar store, $1 or $2. All right, believe me, a sound investment, especially if you make cakes and you want them to look neat, you want them to look good. Look at that. All right, so don't angle this at a 90-degree angle. In other words, don't hold it straight out like that. All right, so hold it at hold it much closer to the cake. And if you have a lot of frosting on there, then you're doing it wrong. Because this is to straighten the frosting out, it's not to take it off. So if you had excess frosting that you wanted to remove, then that would be fine. But that's not what we want to do right here. All right, so check that out. You just want to keep turning. Even if you're using a plate, you can still use this method. So you can still very carefully, very slowly turn that plate and smooth your frosting out. All right. And so once this is completely smooth, like I said, it goes into the freezer or the refrigerator for 30 minutes to an hour for me, all right, or until you can touch it and it's hardened. And when it does, then you can take this back out and finish it. All right, fam, watch this. I'm going to put the frosting on the cake, all right? So you just want a plain layer of frosting. Don't do any swirls in it. Don't do anything. Just do a plain layer of frosting. And the reason why is because you're going to put the crumbs on the outside of here. And when you put the crumbs on here, I do want to remind you that is a messy, messy affair. Those crumbs get everywhere. So that's why I'm on my countertop, so I can control where those crumbs are going. Because you have to take them in your hand. You have to actually press them into the cake a little bit so that they hold. All right. And at this point, you know, with the cheesecake in the cake. So this is the refrigerated cake. So you know when you're done, it's going to go in the refrigerator because of the cheesecake. All right. So if you don't want to use the cheesecake too, here's a tip. You can use a layer of cake in the middle and you can flavor it with cheesecake flavoring. So you can still get the same effect. You just won't have, naturally, obviously, the cheesecake in the middle. But if you like me, I don't really care for cheesecake. So the cake layer in the middle tasting like cheesecake would be great for me. All right, so I'm just going to get this on with an offset spatula. And trust me, after that, putting those crumbs on. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you guys watch. I'm going to stop talking and just let you guys watch the whole process of putting the lemon crumble on there.
All right, so after making this cake, y'all, hold on a second. It smells so good, like the whole house smells like lemon. Like it's the best smell ever, like for fall. All right, so what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to take me some frosting, some cheesecake, and the lemon cake. Baby, if you like lemon cake, this is definitely the cake for you. The cake, you know what? The cake is not too overly amount of lemon in it. And so the crumble on there with the frosting too. So I kind of had the cheesecake right there. The cheesecake, the frosting, and the cake. So now I have the crumble, the frosting, and the cake. Nailed it.
And that's what it looks like. Cause y'all know I cut out of it so I could sample it. But baby, look at that cheesecake. Lemon layers. This is great. Y'all better go make this. Thanks for watching. See y'all next time. For more great recipes, tips, and ideas, check out some of my other videos.